Hello. In this video, we're going to look briefly at angles as we begin our new unit on trigonometry. So to start, let's take a look at this triangle. We have a triangle ABC, and one of the angles is 93. And we'd like to find the other two angles. Now, with only one angle, I don't think we can figure out the other two angles. That's not enough information. But we do have this 130 over here in the corner. So I'd encourage you to pause the video and see what you remember about triangles and lines and angles. See if there's anything you remember that might help you in this situation. All right, so one thing that we need to remember is that in a straight line, there are always going to be 180 degrees. This is a math fact. Anytime you have a straight line is 180. And if you're wondering why, well, a full circle around is going to be 360. So a line is sort of like half that. Okay, so a line is 180, or if you want to think about it, a line is like two right angles, each one being 90. 90 plus 90 is 180. So if we know that a full line is 180, and over here we have 130, we can do a little bit of subtraction to figure out what has to be on the other side. 180 minus 130 gives us 50. So this has to be 50 degrees. Okay, well that's pretty cool, but what about that last angle? We don't have like a line over here that we can do the subtraction with, so how do we find the angle C? Now there's another really interesting property about triangles. Not only do straight lines add up to 180, but surprisingly, all the angles in the triangle have to add up to the magic number 180. So if we have 93 so far and a 50, that means that so far we have a total of 143 degrees. And we need to get to the magic number 180 with all three angles. So 180 minus 143 is going to give us 37. All right. Well, with that as a warm-up, let's take a look at another question. Suppose we know this angle is 50, this angle is x, and this angle is 2x, in other words, twice as big as this angle. Can we determine all the missing angles in the triangle? Go ahead and pause the video and give it a try. All right, now you might be tempted to do some guessing and checking, but there's actually a way to do this with algebra. We know that these three angles have to add up to 180, and we could give this another label like y or something, but I'm actually going to do something a little different. We know this is 2x, so this angle right here has to be 180 minus 2x, right? Because the whole thing is 180 for the line. We've used up 2x, so 180 minus 2x. Now we know these three angles have to add up to 180, so we can write x plus 180 minus 2x plus 50 has to equal 180. Well, the 180 cancels on both sides, and the 2x combines with the x to make a negative x. So negative x plus 50 equals 0. So x equals 50. All right, so this over here has to be 50 degrees. And that means the last angle, 180 minus 2x, is going to be 180 minus 2 times 50. 180 minus 100, so 80. So this angle over here is 80 degrees. And then just for good measure, that means the one over here is also 100 degrees. 100, because 2 times 50 is 100. Okay, so again, a little bit of algebra going on there, but we were able to figure it out. So let's really go for it here. We've got this big, huge diagram, and we would like to find all the angles in the diagram. So the angles here, and here, and here, and here, and here, and here. See if we can find every single missing angle in the diagram. Go ahead and pause the video and give it a try. All right, so assuming you gave it a try, let's zoom it in a little bit there. And we're going to go ahead and take this one step at a time. So if we know this 70 here over, we can do 180 minus 70, and that's going to give us 110 right here. Now, if we know the 110, we can look at triangle ABC. So look at triangle A, B, and C. That has to add to 180, right? All triangles have to add to 180. And right now we have 110 as the top angle right here. Then we have 20 plus x here and 20 plus x here. So 20 plus x plus 20 plus x. So 180 equals, well, so far we've got 110 plus 20 plus 20. So that's 150 plus 2x. In other words, 30 equals 2x and x equals 15. So this has to be 15 in here. This has to be 15 in here. Now, knowing that, there's all sorts of little tricks we could do. If we notice here, triangle ABD, right? Triangle ABD is going to add up to 180. And that means we can find this angle right here because we have 2. If we have 2 and we're just looking for the third angle, we subtract. So 180 minus the 15 minus the 20 is going to give us 145 degrees. All right, well, if we have 145, though, we can look at the straight line. So if we imagine this is our straight line here, 180 minus 145 will give us a 35 over in here. And that'll also give us a 35. Well, here, let me erase that straight line and draw a different one. So if we get rid of this line, and we think of a straight line over here, well, that'll give me another 35 over in that little corner. And then if I draw a straight line here, that'll give me a 145 up here. All right, that was pretty sweet. Now we can use maybe triangle ADE. Again, we have 2 of the angles. We have a 20 and we have a 35. So we subtract those 2 and we get a 125. Now again, we got this straight line going on here, so we can do 180 minus 125. It's going to be 55. What else we got? Oh, I guess we could get triangle BDF. 180 minus the 35 minus the 15. That'll give us 130. And we can find this missing one with the straight line. That'll be 180. So 130 minus 180 is 50. Now, just for fun, if you look at CEDF, this is actually a 4-sided shape. And if we add up all the angles in there, 55 plus 110 plus 145 plus 50, that gives us a total of 360. And this isn't a coincidence. In a 4-sided shape, the angles inside always add up to 2 triangles, 2 triangles being 360. All right, so we found all the missing angles. We've used lots of different skills, and hopefully this is a nice recap for you. If you're looking on taking some notes on this, these are, I would call this angle review. Angle review. And we need to know that in a triangle, the angles add to 180 degrees. If you want, in a square, the angles add to 360 degrees. In a line, the angles add, again, to 180 degrees. Those are some nice math facts to know about. And then here, there's really not much else to work on. If you want to add an example, you can look at Worksheet 0. And there's a couple extra practice questions in there. If you want to do just a little bit more of your geometry and your angles, just making sure you're ready for that one. And of course, 0.5. But I wouldn't really say there's any things to remember here. So maybe just go ahead and add one more example here for your notes, and then we'll pick it up in the next lesson. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.